Okay, I think we're rolling. All right, so let's play with some text effects today, and what we'll do is we'll trace over the kind of plain logo for the new Star Wars movie coming up, or one of the new ones. And I'm using Adobe Animate. Everything I do here is going to apply for Adobe Flash as well. So if you're still using that program, and yeah, let's kind of get started by just going over an image that we've already imported. You can take any image, just drag it from your desktop into the scene over here. What I've done is I've just gone ahead and locked that layer where it's at, so you can see, down here I can move it around, right? But it is currently locked up, so I don't have any chance of kind of messing around with it. And actually, just real quick, one of the preferences that I really do like is if you were to go over here to General, and actually it is under drawing, sorry, set it up like I've got it over here. Okay, I like this to be toggled off. Okay, all right, so that's about it, and don't even worry about what that does. So let's just grab a rectangle tool over here, and we don't need a stroke around it. We're just going to be dealing with the fill, just kind of the inside part of it right here, so there's no stroke around it, line around it. And again, just important thing is that we're on a layer above, so I'm just going to draw inside of here. Then we don't want to work in this little tiny spot. Let's go ahead and just zoom in a little bit. So if you grab your magnifying glass and just kind of make a little box over there, you can then begin just pulling out, and I'm not doing anything else on the keyboard right now, just begin pulling out the two of the four vector points that are making up this square right now. And if you wanted to, you could go over here and kind of look at them. So you take this white arrow, right? But you'll notice I end up always going back to the black arrow, just this one, and you can hit the hotkey of A to get back there, which just doesn't show you the vector points. You're still basically doing the same thing, but you're not actually seeing them. And at times I find that to be just a little bit easier. So I'm going to make a new one right now. So I'm going to hold down the Option key, and I believe on the PC or Windows, that's going to be the Control key. So you can see I've now got a kind of fifth point making this thing up, and we'll just kind of basically go around this shape, making new ones, and sort of what you can think of as almost like kind of key areas, right? So again, I'm holding it down, coming over here, holding another one down, and just kind of don't worry about the rounded stuff for right now. Just kind of get the broad strokes of this in here, because obviously we will round this out in just a little bit. Okay, so if you've got something like this, you're in good shape. Okay, now just hover over the side of it and then just pull that out. And what you might have to do is just make another shape if you find that it kind of didn't perfectly conform. And at this point, I'd probably go and view this as a wireframe, which is a little hard to see with that purple line. If you right click on the layer and you go over here to properties, this is not something I do too often. Let's make that blue, and that should be a little bit easier to see. There you go. And then you can begin to just kind of, really match it up to the source shape. And there we go, pull that in a little bit. And it's kind of hard to tell whether or not there's some rounding going on right there, just because this image is pixelating out just a bit. But, it kind of means that we won't notice one way or another if we get it right or not. If it's that small. And, yeah, we probably put that a little bit too far out. Okay. So once you've got that, let's take that off. Let's go over here. Let's make it the same color. So I'm just going to select the fill and just kind of sample out this way. You can see that as soon as you just start dragging out from there, you can sample anything else. And let's see what this looks like all on its own out here. Okay, probably, let's see. Maybe it is a little bit too pointy right there. Let's just go and do this. I'm going to put another point right here, then move that one over that way. And just kind of round that in right there. Yep, yeah, it's hard to tell that did anything. Okay, so who wants to watch me do the rest of these shapes? Well, two of them are the same. The L is pretty easy. Here, we'll do another layer just for this one. Actually, no, I'll just work on the same one, since I've already got the color right for the wireframe. And if I don't lose my voice, I guess we'll make it through here. Got some coffee off to the side, as usual. If you hear me slurp on it, that's what's going on. Okay, that was an easy one. And all right, we'll just go ahead and just do the O as well. At least you can see how we'll deal with the interior part, which is a good lesson in itself. Okay, at least we get to duplicate this. What a nice short bit of text to copy over, right? And there we go. So again, just pulling these around. It's kind of an odd circle because it's skewed. Otherwise, I would have been tempted to just start off with an actual circle, but I don't think I would have gotten it right. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, yep. Now, let's just do the same thing on the interior of this. Just grab any color, okay? So you can see what happens is, just drag you put any color right on top of the same layer. Ignore this one right now. And then just delete it out, okay? And then you can go back over here to wireframe mode and then just start doing the exact same thing you did before, but now we're just dealing with the negative space of where it once was. And bend this out. Like I said, this is kind of an odd one. Hopefully that looks about right. Okay, yeah. Now let's just move this over. So I'm going to copy and paste it. Nothing fancy about that, just your usual copy and paste hotkeys. Be sure none of the letters are touching. I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like a good idea, especially since the source material, none of them are touching. And then let's real quick go and do the, not all that. We're just going to deal with this part over here. And again, we'll go to wireframe mode. This shouldn't be too tough, mostly straight lines. And actually, I'll show you a cool way of connecting in fact, this, we can just bring it right down here. And then this is pretty much just a straight line. Looks like it goes a little bit off over there. Okay, once you've got that, go ahead and copy this one over to there. And that was actually a copy drag right there. I was just holding down the Option key. I assume on the PC that's probably the Control key. And then for this, let me move this back just a bit. I'm just going to put another square over here, and then I'm going to go over here and turn on Snap to Objects, and then head back over here to my selection tool, and then just snap that to that, that to that, that to that. And then you'll notice that they kind of join up at that point because it is the same color. If they weren't the same color, they wouldn't join together like that. But then you've got this nice little connector piece basically for your for doing these rounded parts. So we'll just do the same thing over here. And again, you can always move that a little bit. And we're moments away from doing something other than just tracing this out. Well, what I did is I went and I looked up some older Star Wars logos, and we'll kind of mimic some of what they did there. And so it won't be too much different, but we'll have some colors and some gradients. And the most important thing is you'll learn some tricks to make your own logos a little bit more spectacular. Okay, so let's get rid of the source image. Bye-bye. Hopefully Lucasfilm doesn't mind me teaching this. If so, you can write me a letter. Nasty letter for helping promote your movie. All right, there we go. So at this point, I've got it all selected, and let's make kind of like a keepsake for this. So I'm going to hit F8 on the keyboard. What this is doing is it's converting it to a symbol. We'll just call this original logo, and there is a couple other ways you can do that. You could right-click on it, and it's getting cut off here at the bottom. Let's see if I can make it not get cut off. I don't think I can. But it's the same thing. Convert to symbol right here, and actually, let's see. I've got two hotkeys up for this, both F8 and F9, because sometimes my fingers will just hit the wrong one. But yeah, you can do them both. Okay, so that's in our library now, and you can see that our library's also got the original image that we had in here. There it is. And we can pull this out at any time. But you'll notice that if we were to go through here and just kind of take out a chunk of it, it's going to destroy both of them on there. Okay, now that's actually a key part of using Adobe Animate, is that any instance of this is they're linked together. Okay, so they're basically clones. So a copy and paste, it's still a clone of the same thing. Now I'm just messing with all three of them. Okay, if you want to duplicate it, and that is a kind of its own term here in the program, you're going to need to go over here to symbol and then duplicate symbol. And this is so important to me. What I've done is I've set up my own hotkey for it. I've replaced one of the other ones, which I thought was stupid. So duplicate symbol, and you'll notice that after I do that, it says, okay, you're basically going to give it a new name, and you can see that'll show up in the library. And then at that point, I can do whatever I want to that one. It's not going to affect the original. And I'm just double clicking inside of here to go back and basically re-edit the symbol. Okay. And so anytime if you see basically scene one and then another name over here, and obviously, and you can tell other things get kind of grayed out in the background or less, whatever, bright. That's where I'm at. Okay. And another indication that you've got your symbol here is there's a bounding blue box around it, which does not appear for other artwork. And if you ever want to make your symbol go back to being just kind of its raw artwork again, go over here to break apart. So you can see now you're just kind of dealing with the same fill shapes that you had before. Let's make the height or the width of this a bit bigger. Right. Okay, so that's sort of the basics of that. And yeah, let's just break this apart. So I'm going to use the hotkey Command B. That'll break it back apart again. And let's put some gradients in here. Go over here to your color tab, and let's see. You've got let's use a linear gradient. And by the way, if you're not seeing that, well, first off, you could go over here to Classic. I think is what I'm using. It's maybe a slightly modified version of that. You can see these great names I've put in here, but yeah, try Classic. One of them, maybe even a couple of them, put this over here on this side, which is probably one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in any program. It's like every other Adobe software does their tools on the left. And then for some reason. Okay, so let's see. What are we doing here? Oh yeah, we're using our linear gradient. Gradients can be a little bit tricky. So go over here to your paint bucket, and you'll notice right now it looks like each one of these elements inside here has the gradient applied independent to the other ones, right? So it's a little darker on this side, lighter over here. What we want is to basically make a smooth gradient all the way across, okay? And I don't really want these colors, but you can see that it's done exactly that now. So a lot of times just refilling in the paint bucket with that gradient selected, and as long as you have everything selected, it's going to apply it across there. You can also use the free transform tool to, I'm sorry, not the free transform tool, the gradient transform tool. It just shares a little spot in the world with it. And the hotkey for that is F, and that's a really good one to just kind of lock in your memory. And you'll notice then that you can do some things like this, move it around. So we're actually kind of getting this about how I wanted it. So you can see that the top part, this color is up here, and then that one's right down there at the bottom. So basically, the gradient is applied, evenly over the entire piece. And now let's just go use some kind of classic Star Warsian colors. I'm going to go set the same color on both ends, but then I'm going to click in the middle and then just make it darker orange. And you can kind of then adjust from there. And if anybody remembers the old DVD covers, possibly even the VHS ones, that's kind of about what it looked like right there. And if you notice that, anything looks maybe like, for example, this line, is it too big? Probably not, but if you wanted to, just to maybe make it a little bit thinner, you could always go over here to shape and then expand fill, which is a misleading term considering I was thinking of insetting it, right? So if I inset this, it'll make it a little bit thinner. I'm going to undo that, get an idea what that did. And then, yes, I could do the expand as well. So you could put in here like 10. Oops, I forgot to actually change it. Oh, you got a better idea what it did. Expand, there we go. So now 10, you can see it's much fatter out that way. I don't think we need to do that though. Okay, so that's let's just put that down as variation numero uno. Let me make these a little bit smaller so I kind of fit them into the stage that we've got. Okay, so let's take the same one, and then let's work with a radial gradient. So again, I'm going to break this apart, go back over here to the colors, and let's see what we'll do here. Go down to radial gradient, and yes, you get something kind of wacky like that. Let's again go over here to the paint bucket, fill this in. So we've got, well, it's hard to tell, but you've got it applied over the entire thing. Lock fill might help that. What you could do is try it again. There you go. And so toggling that on or off will occasionally fix the problem of it. You're not seeing any of it. Basically, it was just applied too much. Okay. And then let's go and hit the F key again so we can adjust where this is going to get applied. And so you can now see kind of, all right, there's that orange part in the middle, that ring. And then let's just widen this out. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to tilt it so it's kind of got the same tilt as the logo itself. And then let's keep widening this out. And then I'm going to go over here and just bring these two in. And actually this one, no, that's the top one. I'm going to do the bottom one spaced out a little bit over there. This I'm going to make more of a kind of a hot white, yellow. I'm going to come even closer on this. And what I'm going to try to do, oh, I lost the ability to move those things around, didn't I? Let's just grab it again. What I try to do is make it look sort of like it's a planet almost, you know, kind of the arc of a planet. And let me just grab it one more time. I'm going to play around with this. Yeah, I'm going to bring that in just a little bit. And then kind of a fun little thing you could try here is just offsetting where whatever this is, the license plate around it is. So to do that, you'll notice that when I tried to, do the same thing I did before, it affected everything. I think what we're just going to need to do is grab the paint bucket again and just kind of reapply that to the outer ring, outer plate, and then just sort of figure out, where you want this, what you want this part to look like as well. And I think just offsetting them a little bit actually looks pretty good. Let's see. What I'd probably do. Let's try something like, I believe I have to select it to make that change. There we go. Just something like that. And then to really glitz this one up, here's another thing we could try. Grab the whole thing. Let's make it into a symbol. Solo disco. Let's go over here to properties. Now, actually, when I made this into a symbol, I'm going to back up and do it again. I just broke it apart. I'm going to hit F8 on it one more time. I'm going to set this to not a graphic, but a movie clip. So, let's try solo disco style. And in this way, what I can do is I can apply filters to it. So let's put a glow on there. Like I said, this is going to be kind of an interesting one. Let's go a little darker. Let's see how this looks. Let's take it all in without the others affecting our eyes. Move that guy over there. Well, I was about to make this a little bit lighter, but I could also play around with the strength of it, so you can see what that would do. And then the blurring on it, obviously that's going to make it a little bit more blurred out that way. Let's go one notch down. And there's all sorts of neat things you could do with these filters. So for example, too, another thing I could try is, let me fold these up so you can see. I can put more than one on. We could do a glow around it that is an inner glow. So let me move this one up. And I'm going to make this kind of a yellow. And then set this to be an inner glow. Okay, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference right there because basically it's just applying this one before the other one. And let me zoom in. I think you should be able to see. Yeah, okay. See, right, keep your eyes right over there. Okay, notice how when I click on inner glow, it's actually going on the inside of it, right? So then you got this nice little kind of almost beveling effect occurring, and there actually is a bevel filter, but let's I tend to usually go with the quality set to high. Let me bump this up just a little bit. These don't have to be the same value over here, so you can unlock them. So one could be a little bit different. So you can see what that would do. That's actually not too bad. And then, of course, again, you've got the strength that you can play with. So there's all sorts of cool things you can do within there. Pan out, see what that looks like. And then if you want to do maybe some sort of gleam or something like that, let's just grab a white square. I'll just start making some vector points on here. Hit F8 on that. Let's make it into another movie clip. Go over here to glow again. Let's set this to be white and set the quality up to high. I'm going to set the brightness up. The strength up, and then also let me lock these two together now. So basically, I've got something like that. Let's see what that does in the middle. Doesn't that look kind of nice? So then you can put that. Scaling it will have some effect on the what you've done over here, so you might have to readjust those. And usually if I'm going to twinkle something up like this, what I'll do is I'll do one kind of really strong one, and then maybe do a couple sort of lighter ones over here. Squish that one down a bit. Okay. Maybe not the best effect. By the way, you can also do. Let me put that in the middle. You can go over here to your color effect and nope, sorry, that's not it. You can go over here to your display and change the way the blending is set. So if you're familiar with Photoshop or other graphic programs, just how things are kind of how one thing on top of another thing affects the colors underneath. And so that could also have some interesting effects in here, something like, might not do that here, but and what you might want to consider, I do sort of like that. Duplicate it though, and then let's just take off the wings on this thing. So let's go just do something like this, right? So then you've got, something a little different. Let me zoom in. So basically, you've just kind of added some light to the side of the license plate, the Star Wars license plate. Hey, what else is it? Let's shrink that down a little bit. And you know what? Sorry, that's I should have talked through that one. There's a great hotkey that I think is worth setting up. I use Command R for this. It's under here, under Symbanoop. It's under Transform. So scale and rotate. There it is. There's the Command R, and it just makes it so you can kind of punch in, quick scale value for things. Yeah, I could kind of see that using this in a lot of different places. Just to really. People think you did a lot more work than you did. Okay, so we've got that one now. When you've got everything kind of assembled and you know that you like it, good idea to always put it into a symbol. So, I don't know. Again, it's just in the library now if you need to pull it back out, or your dog jumped on the keyboard and just deleted everything. Other ones that we could do, you know, these are kind of getting into just it's a little bit easy. Let's make the whole thing black. And here, I'll make it into a symbol. This one should look somewhat familiar. Works best with a black background, though. Right? Does it look kind of like the new font? I actually can't remember. I just know it's red. Yeah, so that's an easy one. Maybe, let's see. Yeah, I don't think we need to play with that one too much. All right, one more that I'll throw at you. Okay, let me go back and make the stage just a little bit darker again. Let's get rid of the license plate, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make this white. I'm gonna grab the whole thing. I'm gonna just put it on a layer underneath here. Okay. And let's make this blue. So we'll kind of Superman this thing, right? So I'm gonna actually use the third layer over here. Let me just lock this one up and put both of them down there as wireframes. All right, so I'm gonna work in the middle, and then I'm basically just going through here and connecting up one to the other. Okay. And it should go a little bit faster than you would imagine. So obviously, you know, that's going to go from there to there, right? So you got something like that going on. It's just, you got to be careful where the certain things you don't want to fill in, right? Let me just keep working on new layers in here so I don't collide with the other one. It doesn't really matter, I guess, but so go from that edge to that edge. Now wait, would we see the interior part of that? No, I don't think we would, right? Obviously not. Oh, somehow I did a text. There we go. Okay, that's going to go to there. That's going to there. This one's pretty easy. New line. New vector point. And then, let's see, I guess. Do we have this? I'll go out to there, right? Okay, yep, that seems about right to me. Let's just go ahead and duplicate the circle that we had from before. Hope I hit record on this tutorial. Just checked. Like, wait a minute. Did I actually begin recording? Okay, so now you got this, again, it's the kind of the Superman-ish type skew on the letters. And let's see. Let's go ahead and make all these into one shape. All right, so I'm just going to select all of them here. All right, grab them like that. Let's then take. Let's see. Got a bunch of layers here that are just empty, so let's clear them out. Let's make these into their own symbol as well. Make this white glow. Okay, and then I'm going to go and copy in some artwork. Don't ignore this for right now because I'm actually in a different document. Okay, here we go. Now I'm back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click inside of here, okay, which looks kind of weird. Then I'm going to right click on this and make it into a mask, okay, and then make another layer. I'm going to drag this underneath the mask layer. So now anything I put inside of here is going to get masked. Okay, so only what you're seeing over here is going to show through, and just paste in this image. Okay, this is kind of some stars. That actually might look familiar. And then this looks a little bit better on black. So anyway, I saw this in some old poster, so I thought it was worth playing around with. But at least you understand how a mask could work in here. And if you want to just, while you're working it within the symbol, if you want to kind of see the effect, you just lock it up. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll a wireframe the outside of it, just so I can kind of get an idea of where that's at. So anyway, poster would sure have a different vibe if they had done that right there. And again, let's just make that into its own symbol. Okay, so we've got the sort of Last Jedi style, the classic DVD. I don't know what you'd call this one. And then this is sort of the Empire Strikes Back version, isn't it? All right, that's it for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed playing around with Adobe Animate. How do I stop this?